everyone, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the teams who are going to win all the NCAA Women's Basketball Division 1 tournaments, all 32, and who are the 3 teams are going to get the AQ, the Qualifier. And this is from the ASUN to the West Coast Conference. This includes the multiple bid leagues, like the ACC, Big Ten, Big East, includes all that Power 5 conferences that get multiple bids in. That doesn't really matter who wins the conference tournament, but it just makes your resume look better in those conferences. And it's going to include teams like conferences like the SWEC, or the MEA, or the America East. That's one bid league for the NCAA. They may get multiple bids in the NIT, but for the NCAA, they're a one bid team. So the ASUN. The ASUN has FGCU and Liberty. Liberty lost both games to FGCU. Well, FGCU, Florida Gulf Coast, lost to Stunner, I believe, to Stets. I believe they lost to Stets and their Stunner. So, and FGCU has a few more games to play on their schedule before the conference tournament, which the ASUN does where home seeds host, the higher seed hosts. So, it's going to be interesting. I think what they're going to do is the top seed in the East plays like the seeds in the West. They try to mix match it up. Or they might just do it where it's like top someone overall get to play like the one plays like the lowest seed, the 8, and the 2 plays the 7, and this. They might do like that, or they might do it where the 1 in the East plays like the lowest of the West. Possibly, so we'll see. But I think FGCU is going to win the East, going to win the tournament, because they beat both games. Liberty, and Kirsten Bell is back. She was gone on injury, and they still played well without her, but they really missed her in that one loss. They've been surviving without her, and then they lost one other time. Liberty's lost both times to FGCU, and they lost once in the non-conference to a tough opponent, to a really tough opponent, an AP opponent, where they're 0-1. Because FGCU, when they're ranked in the USA table, is delivery. So that's only one to a really tough opponent. So, yeah. I think it's going to be FGCU. Liberty has a good case to make it to NIT. So is Jacksonville State. But I just don't see Liberty winning the qualifier. Unless they stun FGCU in the tournament when they meet, then that's the only way. Stony Brook is ineligible for the conference NCAA tournament because you're moving conferences. So Maine now is the favorite to be number 1, but I could see Albany, and I could also see Vermont winning it. The team's in the bottom. I just don't see winning it. But I could see Maine winning it. I can see Albany winning, and I can see Vermont winning it. I believe the American East is one of those that hosts as well. So, hosting is going to be really important, but I could see a team stun on the road. Like, have a stunner on the road. But Maine is actually better on the road than they are at home. Kind of oddly enough. And usually you're worse on the road than you are at home. But Maine's better. I don't know why. Or better on the road. I don't know why. But I don't know. That might actually playing that up in the air. We're not seeing it. That's why I say that, In the American Athletic, the teams in the bottom, like SMU, Temple, Houston, Tulsa, Memphis, East Carolina, Wichita, Cincinnati. I mean, there was a canceled game. Tulsa had a canceled game against East Carolina. One of those teams had COVID issues. So, and you can see, like, the schedule's kind of a lot because of COVID issues and canceled games and stuff like that. But Tulsa did cancel a game against East Carolina. Or that game was canceled. But it doesn't really matter. For standing purposes. Because all teams make it to the American tournament. But I see UCF winning. USF has survived lately. They've survived. They played a tough schedule. They were ranked early in the season, and they were tough. They were at a tough schedule. They played like really, really good teams in the A people. You can see they played 2-2 against the A people. And those teams that were at that time ranked in the USA Today coaches poll, they were 2-2 as well. So they played really tough. They played really tough schedule. Then they were kind of derailed it. And now they're like just. I don't think they're gonna win. I think it's gonna be UCF. And I don't. Maybe it's maybe a UCF USF championship. But maybe UCF might lose to Tulane. They could lose to Tulane. Who knows though? Tulane's been on a bit of a streak. They've won 8 straight, so I can see Tulane, having a good chance of beating South Florida in the semis if they meet up. Or USF has a good chance of losing to UCF in the championship as well. South Florida, I do believe, will make it to the NCAA tournament, even because they're non-conference. But I just don't see them getting very far in the tournament. I see them slipping. In their conference, winning games in their conference, we'll help them stay steady. But I just don't see it. I see UCF winning the American Athletic. In the Atlantic 10, I saw UMass doing well at first, but I don't see UMass doing the greatest at first now. It's either Dane or Rhode Island. That's really what it boils down to. It's going to be Dane, Rhode Island in the championship game. Unless one of them gets upset in the conference championship game, or in the semis, or like any round prior to that, it's Dane or Rhode Island. Maybe UMass, but I just don't see it. I see a lot of these upsets in like the Fordham, the St. Joseph, St. David's, and Richmond, the skiing, like the lower range. I see a lot of upsets in that category, like St. Joseph, Fordham. Like I said, but I just don't see a lot of upsets. Like when it comes to top 3, like top 2, I see them being safe. USBCU should be safe from it, but maybe someone could beat like one of the top. Someone could beat UMass, or someone could beat VCU. So you kind of, maybe you could have like a Fordham in like the semis. Like being for a championship game. Maybe you could have some upside semis, but it's either Dane or Rhode Island. But it's kind of too close to call because either team could beat each other. It's not like one's like significantly better than the other. In the Atlantic Coast. Now this is a conference where anyone can win. Or not anyone, but a lot of teams could actually make it to the conference tournament championship. NC State could win. Louisville could win. Notre Dame could even. Virginia Tech could win. Could stun someone. There's a bunch of teams that could stun teams like top 3. I don't think Georgia Tech has a shot. Could win the turtle tournament, but they could stun someone and go to the semis. They could like beat UNC. UNC could go to the semis, you know. Maybe they might have a chance to the finals. They just really stun some. But that's gonna be a lot of a tough one. NC State is the favorite, you know. And I do see NC State as the favorite, but Louisville could also easily win the tournament. Notre Dame, I could see them winning the tournament. You know, you got a wide open Atlantic Coast Conference tournament. And it's gonna be fun, you know, seeing which teams go on to the championship, which teams don't in these power conferences, because you can have a lot of upsets in these conference tournaments. And these neutral floors. And I could definitely see it. You know, I can definitely see NC State in a Virginia Tech final, or even a Notre Dame Virginia Tech final or something like that. I can definitely see it, but you know, so I think it's top 4 for sure. It's wide open. But 5 and 6, you know, the ranked teams, I think could send someone. But Georgia Tech's been losing streak of 3, so I don't know. Even UNC, Virginia Tech, top 5, I think, could really stun teams. Maybe if Georgia Tech gets their act together, they could stun someone, but it's looking less and less likely. But even the top 5 for sure, they could all stun and be a big upset for the final match. And the Big 12, Baylor is first, 5, number higher over Iowa State. But Baylor and Iowa State is playing Monday the 20th, as they're the only power conference that plays like all the women's power conferences. They play like first week of March. They start the first week of March, and they end on the Sunday, March 6th. And the other one who starts the week afterwards, same week as the men. But yeah, their team, I think, Baylor and Iowa State are favorites. But maybe Oklahoma, maybe Kansas, even Texas could send some. I know Texas, you know, I think any of these teams could stun. Top 5 could stun. A lot of these teams could really stun. Like Oklahoma could stun, and Iowa State could stun someone. That's gonna be Iowa State Baylor. The rematch is Monday the 20th, and someone else, you know, like Baylor could beat Iowa State, you know, and then Iowa State, you know, could get upset in the semifinals. You know, Kansas could beat Baylor in the fight, and you know. So it's just like wide open, you know, and who knows who's going to make the championship. That's what's interesting. Like you know, all these teams have like three losses, and there's some with 5, so there's a lot of top teams beating each other. You know, like they're winning the game at home, but on the road they're losing. Like, you know, like the home team's winning the game. Each of these top games, a lot of the games. So, and there's like a few stunners, you know. And they were like taking like a little sweep, you know. So, you know, like maybe Baylor, Iowa State sweeping Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas on both the road and home. So, but maybe if that's at least the standings, it seems that maybe that didn't actually happen. But you know, the Big 12 is wide open. The top 5 teams can easily win and easily go out of finals. So. It's too close to call, you know. It's just like a stun. Like someone like Kansas could stun and go to be in the championship game against, say, Iowa State. Or Baylor could be in that conference championship game against Texas. You know? Like, you could have a Baylor Texas final, or Iowa State Kansas final, or even an Oklahoma Kansas final. Like, you could have some surprising stunners. You know, it might be kind of, you know, it won't be really be out of the blue. In the beginning, I think it's most likely it's going to be UConn. Unless something drastic happens, it's UConn. There's no way UConn's going to beat them or lose. Now UConn is a 3 seed in CAA, despite them being a 7. in the AP poll, the Associated Press poll. Now, I think that 7th seed is worthy. I mean, they're not worthy of the 7th seed, or the 7th rank. I guess you could say rank number 7. I think they should be in like the 10 to 15 range because they have 5 losses. But I definitely think the 3 is pretty deserving. They're pretty up there. Based on their tough schedule they've played. They have lost some games, like Georgia Tech. They lost the game to South Carolina. They lost some tough games. Some tough AP teams in AP poll, but then they did lose a couple games. Those 2. They lost some stunners. They lost a stunner to Georgia Tech. When they were in AP poll, they lost like South Carolina. So they lost like tough games. They played Notre Dame, beat them. They play a bunch of like tough opponents. You could maybe see an upset, maybe but Crane is in the NCAAs. They're predicted to be in the NCAAs. Villanova is predicted to be in number 2 overall seed, number 2 seed in the NIT. The Paws was the number 1 overall seed. They're in the NIT, the best team in the NIT. But they also seen so they were predicted to be kind of first 4, like in the NC, like in the first, like a last 4 buys, like last 4 in, like last 4 teams in, like a first 4 matchup with like the 11 seeds. They predicted again that area in like a 10 seed buy or something, or like 11, or 10, 11 seed buy, and then like a 11 seed first 4. They predicted to be that range, but Seton Hall is worthy of being an NIT. There's not worthy of an NCAA team. That's kind of what hurts the Paw. But unless Villanova or something stuns, say, you can, or a team that's really lost UConn had in conference. Unless Villanova stuns UConn again, or some team stuns UConn, I think UConn's guaranteed the number 1. Or guaranteed to win the Big East. Easy. In the Big Sky. You could have some upsets, I think. Some upsets, because there's a bunch of teams. A lot of these teams have like Iowa State has 4 losses, Montana State's 4 losses. Southern Utah has 6. Montana has 7. So, a bunch of these teams could stun out each other. But it's going to be like who can just get hot at the right time in the conference. Like who's the hottest or not. Like, you can't really tell. Like, who's really the hottest team. Which is going to be interesting coming into the Big Sky tournament. So, I think to see who can get hot at the right time. That's what I think is going to the Big Sky. Like, it's a cop-out, but I think it's good. Now, in the Big Scout, you have Campbell, you have Longwood, you have High Point, you have Carolina Upstate, you have Gardner, you have NCNT. But you have a bunch of good teams in the. But I think it's, like I said, whoever can get the most, whoever can get the hottest during the end. Longwood is the hottest team right now. So is High Point. So Longwood, High Point look like they might meet up in the semi. So if they're the 2 hottest teams, I think it's who wins between Longwood and Hampton and High Point. Because the Big South tournament is playing on the 1st of March, and the conference championship game is on the 6th of May at Sunday night on ESPNU. So I think Longwood and High Point can match up and play each other pretty in the semis. And the winner, I think, might win championship. Who knows, though? It's just, I think, someone could stun someone and get hot right during the tournament, so we'll see, though. We'll see. In the Big Ten. Now, this is really tough in the Big Ten, because Michigan could win the Big Ten championship, Ohio State could win the Big Ten title, Maryland could win, Indiana could win, Iowa could win, but there could also be some stunners like Nebraska stuns and wins, like wins a game against to knock them out of the championship race. So it's just really tough, because there's teams that have been the top teams in the league. Like Michigan State, I believe, beat Michigan, had a big upset win. Michigan's had some losses, upset losses. So it's tough, 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 So it's just tough, Michigan, Nebraska could beat Michigan. Michigan State could beat Michigan, It's just any team, all these teams can beat anyone. Unless you're Illinois, or maybe unless you're the bottom teams, but a lot of these teams could beat anyone, So so you're just gonna get hot, As long as you're hot, during the tournament, that's what I think is gonna sell apart. Is who's gonna be the most hot team, and who's gonna be the play the best, during the tournament. Now in the Big West, some of these teams you might not have played each other, because there was in some of these conferences. Well, they did cancel games where instead of postponing the game, and say they had say they played a game on a Monday, they're scheduled for a Monday game, and then they weren't playing until say Friday, but then on say Wednesday they'd play a postponed game on say Wednesday and have Wednesday, Friday, Monday sleep. See? No. There's Big West said just to cancel not any makeups. But then some of these conferences, a lot of these conferences did postpone games. And there were some conferences that did do COVID just canceled outright, the Big Sun Belt and the Big West, I know did. And then the Northeast Conference did forfeits. And some other conferences did, I think a few conferences did forfeits. It just kind of sucks, doing forfeits. But then, I know the American, they said Tulsa East going to cancel. That was because the conference tournament's coming up soon, and they have to play a game on the 2nd. So they'd have to either, and then if they have a cancel game, 27, those teams play again. One team has canceled, so it might not have another game. So it may have, or postpone that, push back the game to 28th or something like that before they cancel it. So I don't think they're going to be able to make it up. Yes, maybe they'd make it up on the 5th, 4th or the 5th, but even then, But yeah, I think in the Big West, I think Hawaii, Long Beach State, UC, Oregon could all win. But some of these teams might not play each other. Cal Poly might not have played, say, Long Beach State, or UC San Diego might not have played Hawaii during the regular season. Or some of these teams might not have played each other during the regular season. They only played, say, once during the regular season instead of playing twice during the regular season, like they originally slated to. So it's just tough, Now in the Colonial Athletic Association, I can see a bunch of teams, not a bunch, but I can see a few winning it. I could see either Drexel winning it, or I could see Delaware winning it. Delaware did lose to Drexel 2 times in the regular season. Drexel did have an upset loss, though. So, if Delaware can, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the regular season, but Drexel did it. So I think Drexel can, if Drexel's going to beat Delaware 3rd time, and I think Drexel's got it. I think he Delaware 3 times. If not, then Delaware's got it. In the Conference USA, And I know they do it here in the Conference USA where top team in the East plays like the West, and um like the 4 seed in the East has to play the 5 seed. Say they'll play the 5 seed in the West. They will not meet each other in conference, so they do not play from the same conference, which is fair because they play all the teams once, and then they play the teams in the same division twice. And in the West, North Texas and Southern Miss had to get canceled because they have, even if they had postponed the game, they'd have to play on the 26th. Both teams play on the 26th. And one team might have to have a COVID. That was on the 24th. So one team might have to cancel a game or something. And then even if they made up a game on the 28th, they play a game on the 3rd, and they play a game on the 5th. And then they have to have a little buffer time for the conference tournament in time depending on what day they play. So, restart the conference tournament. So, I think they're gonna, this game might get, the second game could get postponed, this one, like the 28th or something like that. Or even possibly the 1st. So, maybe that's what they're waiting for. Is the postpone one as long as they can. And then just, cancel one outright, if need be. So, but, yeah. But you can see a lot of these teams, though. While these games were made up, though, they did not have to cancel any games. Looks like just a couple. They didn't seem to find time to put that in their schedule. A replacement date or something like that. They just have to already cancel it. Already cancel. But some of these are just called already canceled from the start. So. But, yeah. But anyways, in the East, I could see Charlotte winning it, Middle Tennessee, Old Dominion, Western Kentucky. Charlotte's the favorite, but Old Dominion, Middle Tennessee do have better records in regular play. So I don't know. I think the East is definitely a lot stronger than the West. I think it's going to be the East winning a bunch of these games against the West, and then maybe when it comes down to East and West, I think the West is going to get eliminated pretty quick. Except for FAU, possibly. And FIU. But the rest of the team, those two teams can go in. But a lot of these teams, top 4 in the East, I think could all meet up. Could all beat all the teams in the West. So maybe we have an all East championship or something or something like that. That would be. But maybe we have North Texas or Louisiana Tech. Or Southern Miss. Maybe one of those teams maybe does a little upset. It goes to championship, but maybe not the championship, but is the lone team out of the East or the West, excuse me, in the finals from 8 teams. So yeah. And then the Horizon League we have IUPUI and Youngstown State are the favorites. It's going to be interesting who can beat those two teams. I think it's going to be. So there's 11 teams you play, and each team's playing twice. So a lot of these teams, there's only one game left you have to play. Wright State and Purdue Fort Wayne have 20 games. USC has 20 games. Oakland has 19. And then same with Northern Kentucky, Cleveland State. And then Green Bay has 18. So all these teams are either already canceled. Some of these games were postponed. Just already canceled. Because I know the Horizon League conference tournament's coming. And they're not going to have time to Green Bay is not going to have time to make 2 games. So. But yeah, I think it's just going to be IUP or Youngstown. You can win between them two. But if this favorite's on, well, maybe there's a stunner. We'll see. No, but I think it's most likely going to be who wins between IUP or Youngstown. After seeing Princeton play Columbia, in the top 4 make the Ivy League tournament. So, Princeton does make the top 4 make the Ivy League tournament. No teams make the Ivy League. There's only semifinals and championship. And I think who's going to go to the championship is Princeton, and he's going to take on Columbia. And Princeton's going to beat Columbia for the 3rd time. Now, that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, it's good. They're going to have easy semis. Like, Princeton's going to have an easy semi against Harvard or Penn. And because they play it, I know Princeton plays the game on the first Friday in March on ESPN News, which is the 4th. And that could be interesting, Princeton and Penn, because Harvard is looking for, and Penn is a team in the hunt for the Ivy League tournament, and Penn and Harvard and Penn are tied. You know? So things could get interesting in that race right there. You know. So, but I think it's Princeton. When being Columbia for the championship. In the Metro League Athletic Conference. Fairfield. I see Fairfield winning. Fairfield should have been undefeated winning the Metro League Athletic Conference tournament, but they did have a stunner loss over Siena. When Siena was really hot, Siena was like 0-1 like something, and then Siena just ended up winning like 4 or 5, 6 games in a row. Siena just won like 5, 6 games in a row, and they just played really well. But then they end up losing, and they end up finally not getting hot anymore, and they end up losing about a bit of conference. But I still think, Fairfield's the team to beat, unless they're an upset, between one teams. Quinnipiac, Monmouth, maybe have an upset, who knows. But I see Fairfield winning it all, unless they're an upset. Unless Quinnipiac upsets Fairfield, or Manhattan upsets Fairfield. I see Fairfield winning it all, though. That's pretty easy determination right there. In the Mid-Atlantic Conference, who do I see winning the Mid-Atlantic Conference? Or the Mid-American Conference, not the Mid-Atlantic Conference. Golly, I think of the Mid-Atlantic Conference. In the Mid-American Conference, I see there's a bunch of teams battle up for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. They're all like 7, 8, 9 losses. They're all battle up each other. And then like the bottom teams are, in the league of their own. And the tops in the league, they're separated a little bit. But the middle, I think the middle of the pack's going to be the most interesting. That's going to be interesting. But I see, overall, Toledo winning the conference tournament. They seem like there's leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else heading into the conference tournament. But you never know, though. I mean, there could be a stunner, like the one game to the west. That was a stunner. Maybe there could be a second stunner in the conference tournament. And then maybe, say, Buffalo wins it, or Akron wins it, or Boston wins it, or someone else wins it. But, you never know. I mean, in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Now, Howard is the favorite. They're 9-2. But, Coppin State, Morgan State, Norfolk State. Those teams could win it as well, I don't see Delaware State winning it. Obviously, because they haven't won a game all year. They're the only undefeated team left. North Carolina Central, South Carolina State, Middle Eastern Shore maybe could win. Some of these teams could win, maybe get upset. Maybe Middle Eastern Shore get upset. Maybe Silver State get upset. But I feel like top four are just ahead of the bottom four. But they're pretty separated. Even fourth to fifth is pretty separated. So I think it's just going to be like top four round out, and whoever gets the hottest during the conference tournament is going to be the champion. That's what I see in the Missouri Valley Conference. I don't see it. Maybe Missouri State wins. Missouri State went to Sweet 16 last year. But I don't see Missouri State going to having that same success level. Missouri State is turning around that first four online. They're right now at the last four buys. So they're turning around that line as like a 10. It's like a low, as like two worst 10s. The two best 11s. They're turning around that line. The 11s that have to play the first four, they're turning around that line. Maybe they might even have to play a first four game or worse, get knocked out of the tournament. But Missouri State did play a game against the AP opponent, and they did end up winning. AP ranked team, but they weren't ranked in the coaches poll. So they ranked in AP. So I do see. Well, maybe they get in with the. Maybe they win. If they win, play pretty well. I think they have a good shot to win. But, they can always stunt, they can always lose, in the conference tournament. But I think if Missouri State needs to keep their foot on the gas, so if they lose another game or two, their chances of making the NCAAs are slimmer by the day. Because Southern Illinois is the favorite, as they're at Qualifier now. So, but even so, as that large, their chances are really slim. Though. It looks like most likely they have to win out if they win the championship, because they can't rely on making it in with a loss in the Missouri Valley tournament. They can't rely on it in the Mountain West Conference. I see UNLV winning it. Maybe New Mexico winning it, but the loser in the UNLV New Mexico, whoever doesn't make it to the NCAAs is going to be NIT. Obviously, in the Mountain West, New Mexico, I think they're an NIT worthy team. Colorado State, I would say they were good, really hot, and really good, better, but now they can stack it. Colorado State. Colorado State, maybe it's an NIT worthy team at best, but I would say they were an NCAA worthy team earlier, but not no more. That looked more like an NIT worthy team. Air Force looks like an NIT worthy team. But I see New Mexico, those teams be better out in the conference championship game. We're right to go to the NCAAs, and the loser has the right to go to the NIT. Which, obviously, I think the loser, I would imagine, would get selected in NIT. Okay. Then we go to Northeast Conference. Some of these teams have, they were going forfeits for it. And so some of these teams, like Bryan had 5 wins, Central and CF 5 wins. So some of these teams had to forfeit games. Like, they didn't in their seeding. Does not really affect that, like, if they just straight cancel games, or even if they just straight cancel games, and they reschedule games that were COVID, because of COVID, they didn't even reschedule, they just flat out cancel. Your records look a ton bit different, and you actually can see the true reflection. Sometimes you can't see the true reflection, or just, I don't know, which makes things interesting, but FD and St. Francis, Brooklyn are the best teams still. But it should be the best teams anyways. And I think those two are gonna go to the championship game. But you never know, there could be like a surprise. first team in the NEC. If you could lose to St. Francis Brooklyn, and vice versa. But Northeast Conference Tournament is the higher seed hosts, so you never know. Things are looking interesting, though, to say the least. In the Ohio Valley, it's one of these conferences where the bottom team, like Morehead State, like the top bottom four would play the first day, and then like 1, 2 get the bye away semis. Murray and the top 3 and 4 get the bye at quarters, get the bye. Top 2 get the trip by the semis. The 5 and 6 get the single bye second round, and 7 through 10 play in the first round, which is pretty interesting. So that really gives an advantage to Belmont. But Belmont has lost twice, so keep that in mind. But I still think Belmont is the favorite to win. That's what everyone's chasing is Belmont, because they have a 9-game win streak. But I think Belmont is going to win the Ohio Valley tournament. I don't know if we say pretty easily, but they could lose to Tennessee Tech, lose to Murray State, maybe lose to a team that they lost to earlier in the year. But most likely, though, they're going to be rested heading into the Ohio Valley tournament, because they had triple bye. And they have to play 2 games, which really helps them out. So I think they got the win it all. Pac-12, I think. Who in the Pac-12? I think Stanford is going to win it, because Stanford is undefeated in conference play, 15-0, and they beat Oregon twice. They beat every team once, and they beat some teams twice, which is just crazy. Stanford's last game is either Saturday or I believe Saturday. They might play on Sunday, but I believe it's Saturday against Washington, which is not a very eventful game, but Stanford should win that game easily. Just move on to the Pac-12 tournament and undefeated, and they should win that tournament undefeated. Most likely so. So yeah. And they're going to be in as a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, winning the conference tournament outright, like a perfect regular season, perfect conference tournament would help them out. I mean, if they lose a game in the conference tournament, or in the conference tournament, that one depends on who too, but maybe their 1 seed line, maybe their 1 seed gets totaled with if they lose in the conference tournament. I feel like if they lose in the conference tournament, their 1 seed gets toted. Like they might have to change like regions or something like that, or maybe. But we'll see. In the Patriot League, the most top 6 or 5, even early top 6, let's see, are far better ahead than the top 4 for sure. But the Patriot League is where the top teams, the higher seed hosts, so you definitely want to be in the top teams and host. And then if you're in top so many, you get a bye. So you want that bye. I don't know right now, because Bucknell, American, Boston University, Holy Cross, a game separates them. Lehigh, 2 games separate them and Holy Cross, and 1 game separates them from 2nd through 4th. So, who knows? I mean, it's going to be tough heading into the conference tournament, because it's going to be who gets home games, and the pressure, playing at home. The pressure playing on the road is be tough, so. And the other team that's really good at home on the road, excuse me. The only team that's really on the road is, but now they're about the same on the road as they are at home. All the rest, they're pretty bad. A lot of these teams are pretty significantly better at home than they are on the road. It's gonna be tough, who can win, the conference tournament. But I see top 4 or 5, maybe even Army upset someone in the conference tournament. I could see them, top 6, but even the top 4 or 5, even the top 5, even if you don't call it Army, top 5, it's gonna be interesting. Maybe top 5 could beat something. Yeah, could beat American City in the quarterfinal round. And upset them. So it's gonna be interesting, who's gonna beat who, who's gonna meet who in the conference tournament. And in the Southeastern Conference, I see SC South Carolina. Their only loss was supposed to be Missouri when they were doing good, but now Missouri's slumped. And I still don't see Missouri. SC, I see them winning it all outright. SC would get their bye to the quarters, and they would play the 8, which, if that was to hold, which would be Arkansas right now, and then they have to play the 4 seed right now, which would hold up as Ole Miss. I thought Tennessee would be the 4, but I guess I misinterpreted it as Ole Miss being the 4th. My bad. When I commented that, I read some. So I don't know. I misinterpreted that, but Tennessee would be the 3 right now. Ole Miss, most likely. Florida's going to be the 3, most likely in the tournament. Tennessee's going to be the 4th. And Ole Miss is going to be the 5th. See, because I don't see Ole Miss beating South Carolina on Sunday. And I see Florida beating Missouri. But then Tennessee and LSU play. And Tennessee, it's going to be hard to, most likely, theoretically, it's going to be tough for Tennessee to beat LSU. It's going to be tough in that game for both squads. And Florida is significantly better than Missouri. And South Carolina is significantly better than Ole Miss. So Florida is most likely going to be the 3. But maybe Tennessee sides at the 4, and Ole Miss has to get that. Only gets the single the 7. So yeah, I see South Carolina winning it all. Because they only have 1 step up to Missouri. So, and that's the only blemish. Otherwise, they can go undefeated into the regular season. They're in the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament, which is crazy to think for that. And this all is Southern. There's 8 teams. They played each other once. They have their final games these teams do. Mercer is the favorite. They are significantly better than everyone. And they have that 1 slip up. But maybe Watford beats them. Or maybe the team that they lost to. The team that they lost to. Maybe they beat them in the conference tournament. Maybe. And then maybe Watford is the favorite. But I see Mercer being the favorite. There's no way Mercer's going to. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. But I can definitely see Mercer winning it. I can definitely see. Maybe I can see Wofford winning if they upset Mercer. So, we'll see. Mercer gets upset. So, Mercer was the favorite. There was Southeastern again. They were undefeated. Right now, they're not undefeated. But I can see it. Texas A&M Commerce and Houston Baptist win the championship, win the conference tournament. Because some of the series, has a bit of a losing streak. So we'll see. But all these teams will have had like 4-7 in the road, so who knows? So it's gonna be tough, for these squads, but in the neutral site or something like that. But yeah, I see Southeastern, but I see them. We're going to have the right time between Southeastern Indiana, Houston Baptist, and Texas A&M Commerce winning the conference tournaments. That's what I see winning in the Southeastern of in the Southwestern of that conference. In the SWAC, Jackson State should be the favorite. They have beat. There's 11 teams. There's 12 teams in SWAC. You play each team once from your conference. You play every team once, and then from your conference, you play every team again. And that's really good because all these SWAC teams have a game they're playing they're playing a midweek game I believe they're playing a game. All these SWAC teams are playing a game on Saturday. Then they're playing a game on Monday. And then they're playing a game on Wednesday because they're not playing a game on the 5th on Saturday to get ready for the conference tournament. But Texas Southern, led by Cynthia Cooper, she's got them in a really good spot. I don't see them winning the conference tournament. I see Jackson State sweeping conference, undefeated, but I definitely see them, playing really good basketball at the right time. And this is the perfect time to get hot, conference. Going 14-0. Maybe some upsets in because it's going to be tough, beat the same teams if you play them twice during the regular season. Beat them the third time in the conference tournament. Or, it's going to be tough, but. And then some of the key South Dakota State and South Dakota favorites. Now, South Dakota, the only reason why they're at 15 is because their game against Western Illinois was postponed to the 28th. But I know that game was postponed for sure. Because of the fact that some South Dakota and their NCAA world team and something they definitely want to make sure that South Dakota gets their game, full slate of game, get every game you can to max out their NCAA bid, even if it's not like a Super Bowl game, just having every game possible that they can have made, that they could be played. But it's going to depend on Western's COVID issues. They have a game against Omaha, postponed on Thursday. So then that Western game against South Dakota is played on Monday, 28th. Western and South Dakota game. Then the Omaha game. Conference tournament starts on the 5th. So they might play a game on the 6th. They might play their conference tournament game on the 6th. Because there's 2 men's quarterfinals on the 5th and the 6th. And 2 women's quarterfinals on the 5th and the 6th. So we'll see. Western's game against Omaha could be canceled. Denver could be canceled. Depends on what day their conference quarterfinal is played on. If it's played on the 5th or they move it to the 6th, then they'll be postponed. So we'll see. But if it depends on COVID, how the COVID issues against Denver go. If the Denver game, if they're playing that game. So we'll see. But so the South Dakota game might get canceled, which would give South Dakota State the 1 seed. But I definitely see the winner going between South Dakota State and South Dakota. I definitely see those 2 teams battling out for the conference tournament. And the winner goes to the NCAA. I could definitely see South Dakota winning it. But I could also see South Dakota State winning it. So I could definitely see those 2 teams in the NCAA. I could definitely see some league in a 2-bid league because of Arvid Steele in the Sun Belt. Troy and UT Texas Arlington. UT Texas Arlington are the favorites. I don't see the other teams, being leaps. There a lot of these teams like this, they're canceled. So you see some of these teams with 14 games, 14. Well, there's only 2 with 14 games. So it's 3 actually with 14. And there's ones with like 11. There's ones with like 13. There's ones with 12. Ones with 11. Because they had COVID issues, or they 13. They had COVID. So yeah. So some of these teams you might not have played. You might have only played once, so you're not as fresh about them, or you might not have even played them at all because you had them once in the schedule, and that game got canceled because of COVID. So you never know. So it's gonna be tough, when if you play a team you never played before. So you don't know them this year, so you're not familiar with them, super familiar with them. So who knows? So there could be a good bit of upsets in these tournaments. But Troy and UT are favorites. One of those two I think are going to win. But you never know. There could be a big upset between the top two in the West Coast Conference. BYU, the only loss was to Portland, which was a stunner. But they've been playing really well otherwise. The only other loss was to Oklahoma, which I believe that was when Oklahoma was not ranked. They have 2 AP wins, and over teams in AP poll, and they're ranked currently, and they're ranked. So, or do they beat Oklahoma and lose to Utah? Maybe the loss was to Utah. Now I'm thinking about it. Oh, it was to Oklahoma. I honestly don't remember. I'm not gonna look at this because but Gonzaga, they beat Gonzaga badly at home. They beat them by like 30 on the road. They were down and they came back to beat them by like 15, by at least pretty badly. So BYU should win the number 1 seed. Should win the West Coast Conference because they get the trip by the size. San Francisco. So unless Gonzaga might get upset because their only 2 losses are to BYU. Gonzaga so BYU is going to play the last couple games. So we'll see though. BYU gets their last couple wins. On the season against Gonzaga, and they either get a win against a revenge win over Portland, or if there's upset, they get the Portland does not win. They get a play another team that they already beat twice, and re-beat them again. So yeah. But BYU should win the conference tournament. But I think if BYU wins out, they should be able to win. We get the host. I think they're going to host. I think they are that worthy of a host. But their loss against Portland really hurt them. Their chance of hosting. In the WAC, Steve of Austin beat every team they played so far this season. But I think they're the favorites in the conference tournament. They should win the conference tournament outright. Unless there's a stunner, obviously. But most likely, Stephen F. Austin's going to win the conference tournament. They should easily win it. But maybe not this year. But if they, next year, if they return like the same team, I think they could be like, like an FGCU, where they're like, be like an FGCU if they like schedule tough, improve, like schedule Power 5 teams and schedule a good team. Like even if they don't schedule like good Power 5 teams, even if they schedule like tough like mid-major teams like Liberty, like like Gonzaga, maybe they schedule like an FGCU or a Liberty or just some good like mid-major like Princeton. Like schedule like good team, good mid-majors even if they schedule good mid-majors. They should be like really in a decent spot. Even as like a Matt Qualifier, they should not be in like the 14. Maybe they're like a 14 or a 13 even. Yeah, Matt Qualifier. So they're like a pretty high Matt Qualifier. One from one Billy, which I could definitely see that. And I can definitely see Stephen Boston even say like a 4 seed, some fits, I could definitely see them giving a team some fits, So yeah. Now let me look at this BYU swing. I swear BYU will not beat someone. Let me look. Yes, they beat Arizona State. They beat Florida State when they were ranked. They beat West Virginia when they were ranked. They did lose. Okay, so they did lose to Oklahoma, but they beat Utah. That's what I thought. They lost to Oklahoma. And the last game is against Pacific. Which I'm filming this on the 28th at midnight, so it's pretty late. So I'm gonna get to bed. And yeah, I'm gonna watch some more women's basketball tomorrow. And watch some women's basketball and list the rest of my books I got on eBay. And a few auto parts. I made a little deal with someone. Just a few auto parts. And that person's auto parts. And I got was on 50-50 split. Commission split. So I listed them all watching someone's basketball. So and I'm gonna do a comment on this eBay thing and I went to bed. So talk to you later.